Today at Better Baseball, we have Eric Walbridge, aka the Glove Cowboy, with us today, showing off some awesome pieces, and we've got some questions for you.
Let's hear it. What you got?
All right, what do you think is the biggest glove misconception or myth?
Ooh, man. Okay, if you're a true glove person, I don't know if it's that big of a misconception, but one of the ones that I get asked a lot is how to break in a glove.
Okay.
To me, it's always been like patience. It's like the best way to break in a glove, like playing catch. And if you have a high quality leather, you know, the more time and effort you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. Where these are natural materials that want to form to the shape that you're forming it to, and the more time you take to do that, the better those materials do that. So you hear a lot of people like steaming their gloves, which obviously is not ideal. You know, I mean, if you need to use it tomorrow, then, you know,
Is what it is.
you're sacrificing longevity. Like, you have to understand that going into it, and that's fine. But long term, I mean, oils I hear a lot of, like, no good. Soaks up into leather.
So
makes
the more natural you can break it into that.
Yeah, I mean, you should condition it and use something that isn't going to darken your leather, isn't going to get super absorbed by the porousness of the leather and make it heavier and stuff like that. But overall, I would say just playing catch and taking your time with it, right? Ideal.
Awesome.
Some people don't have the time for it.
Yeah, some people that are just like, yo, I need it done quick. They want something floppy. I guess that's an option.
Or you run it over with your car. Or you like.
I have seen people do it with dually trucks in the parking lot.
Hey,
Swear.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do sometimes, but I think the biggest thing with that is, like, you have to know that by doing that, you might be able to use it sooner, but you're sacrificing like your investment. If it's a high-end glove, like, you're expecting it to last like longer than
That's exactly what we tell customers when they ask about the steam. We're like, it's an option, we can do it, but if you want longevity, we suggest not doing it.
For sure, I agree 100% with that.
What do you think is the best feature that Marucci gloves offer? Maybe like the weight of the glove, the comfort, you know, the style. Like, what do you think the best feature on your gloves is?
I mean, I think there's a couple of different ways to answer that, and I'll try to keep it brief. I think we have the most comfortable hand stall that you could possibly find. We have a little bit more of a snug fit, but it does kind of expand and form to the hand that's inside of it, which I think is really ideal. We definitely have the lightest weight professional level gloves, like brand versus brand. I would say you can put us against anybody in the weight category, and we'll
even with the other companies, when they have synthetics, your full leather usually is still light.
That's a huge focus for us, because gloves, you can't quantify a lot of things with gloves. It's like very subjective, but the one thing you can is weight. So we try to keep ours as light as possible. And then I think from a style and a trend perspective, we try to do things that are outside the box. And, and you know, think about gloves in a way that no one else really is. So I think those three aspects are our biggest feature.
Where do you see the future of baseball gloves going? Like, I know a lot of people looking at synthetics and the weight. You know, where do you see the next step of gloves going, or do you see them staying extremely traditional?
I mean, I think there's always going to be the market for traditionalists who just are stubborn and never want to change. You're a baseball player, I'm a baseball player. We can get set in our ways a little bit, but I think overall, I mean, there are plenty of synthetics out there. The problem is that there are so many different synthetics that some are great for baseball gloves and most are not.
Yeah.
So finding the right combination of all of those things is the biggest challenge, but I do see in the future there being more functional advantages as far as like ergonomics, the way the glove closes, the ball security that you get, grip strength from the hand angle, different positioning that's putting your hand in. And kids have been doing it for years, sort of subconsciously, with going to in the pinky, shifting over, like giving yourself more ball control, leverage, grip strength, all that. Building gloves around that, I think, is going to continue to evolve and further that sort of development. And then from the synthetic side, you can find things that are lighter, thinner, and stronger than leather. They cost a little bit more, but as the market kind of evolves, I think you'll see some of that come more and more into usage in higher end gloves.
Awesome. As a young cowboy, what was the first glove you ever saw and was like, that is awesome?
Man, I get awestruck by gloves pretty much on a daily basis for one reason or another, but I think the first one that I can remember was a 11-inch. It was a Wilson A3000.
A3000.
Yeah, short run there. You know, Barry Bonds had the A3000. He was a lefty in the outfield, but this was like the first time I saw like an 11-inch. I think it was an X2 pattern, one-piece solid web, and it was in like a black and tan colorway with that exoskeleton. And I was just like, what is that thing? Because, like, you know, gloves can be pretty standard, traditional, like not as adventurous. And that was the first time I saw a glove that I was like, oh, you can actually make these things to look more futuristic and modern. And that glove, you know, had a short run, but I think it kind of opened like my brain at a young age to like the possibilities of designing things outside of the box and differently than has been done previously in the past.
Yeah, I'm going to answer this one too. For me, it was the Wilson A2000 Glove of the Month Old Glory. So it was the red, white, and blue pitching glove where the web was fully closed with the stars down it.
So
all
more
50 stars.
Recent glove for you.
Yeah, more recent. It was actually in this store when I was a customer.
There you go.
Yeah.
It took you longer to be awestruck by a glove.
Yes, it took me a little bit longer, for sure. And I'm sure you've probably heard this one before. Explain the reasoning and where the name Glove Cowboy came from.
I'll give you the very brief story because it's kind of a long, convoluted, like kind of tangent-y story. But basically, when I first started collecting and buying and selling and trading gloves, I had bed sheets at the time that had a cowboy print, like a cactus and a cowboy and a horse and a stable or whatever, all over the bed sheets, and like all the photos that I was taking pictures of gloves were always on those bed sheets.
Okay.
So it kind of just became like this, like, oh yeah, the guy with the gloves on the cowboy sheets, and then it kind of just eventually transformed into just Glove Cowboy.
That actually makes
I wish it was
sense.
a cooler story.
No, that actually, I think that's awesome. I think it's great. If you could collaborate with one celebrity, who would it be? I mean, maybe in the way you've kind of done this, maybe.
I mean, if I could pick anybody from a design perspective, it would be probably Jerry Lorenzo at Fear of God, the founder and head of design there. He's just like the coolest guy ever, and I love everything he does, basically.
Yeah.
Or you know, like Kanye West, obviously.
That'd be
I'm
awesome.
sure with that.
What about non-baseball athlete?
Non-baseball athlete. Ooh, that's a good question.
Selena Gomez. No, sorry. That's who I'd want to come watch me.
Man, maybe like or non-baseball, so just a different sport.
Yeah, just an athlete that's not baseball related.
Oh, okay.
That's a really good question.
I mean, I guess you could say like Jordan. I mean, he's like done.
I feel like that's an easy.
That's an easy one though. Yeah, it's too easy.
I think it's Dennis Rodman on the same that would be
Dennis Rodman. You'd come up with some probably pretty crazy.
You know,
stuff.
if you probably reached out to him, he wouldn't say no.
He would probably.
We just gave this guy a great idea. We're gonna see it next week.
Dennis Rodman glove coming out. You heard it first here.
It's gonna be like a wedding dress glove with like a.
I mean, with the green foam.
With some piercings in it. I don't know. It's gonna be pretty crazy. But that actually.
Yeah,
even after this, I'm gonna keep thinking about that question. I've never been asked that, and that's actually a great question.
Awesome.
I need to think about that one a little bit. Okay. Man.
That was all the questions we had. I feel like we can come up with a few more now that we're rolling. Is there anything you haven't been asked that you want to answer? Like, I mean, I don't want to ask you about a college career because I just feel like that's like, I don't know, a slap in the face. So when customers ask me, and they're like,
I don't even want to
how's your
ask
college
you
career?
about
I'm like,
your
I mean, you were hurt all the time.
Cut.
Yeah. You were hurt all the
I don't know.
time.
I mean, it was. I got TJ too. I mean, I got big old scar.
bros.
Labrum surgery. Never got hit in the face though.
Yeah, I had the whole face thing.
I was wondering why you looked like that.
Yeah, they told me they weren't going to be able to make it any better. So I said either make me a lot uglier or a lot prettier, and they said we're going to have to go with ugly.
Just kidding. It's messed up.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think I'm still stuck on the non-athlete collaboration question or the non-baseball collaboration question. That's a really good one. Maybe like Floyd Mayweather, because maybe like a boxing glove could help.
Money team, yeah.
You could do like a lace-up, some sort of
boxing
glove.
He's coming soon now.
Glove.
That's what I'm saying. You put some weird padding on the backside, but it still closes. I don't know. Make it super light because he's gotta have those hands. Oh, I'm gonna keep thinking about that.
All right.
Send us those royalty checks in the mail.
Yeah.